Hello everyone, this is Muneet again with Chai Chat and Community. I present you back एक शाम मुनीत के साथ. Hello everyone, how are you doing today? I know bad news today for the lockdown for 5 more days. I know, especially for Bakra Eid, people are not going to celebrate it. I know, very tough time for the people. It was a part of celebration. This week was supposed to have so many celebrations. So we're gonna miss them. But yes, of course, it is for the betterment of the society, it is betterment of us, and it is betterment of the community. So let's be together in this with this decision with the Australian government, please. Let's hold together our hands and stay together, please. Thank you everyone for watching Chai Chat and Community today. We present you today Pratiksha Shetty here today. So she is gonna be here with us for the whole time. I asked her to be relaxed today. Hope so she is. Hi Pratiksha, how are you doing today?
Hi, Maneet. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How's everything going?
Good, good. How's your day been? Thank you for this opportunity, by the way.
Oh, busy day. Don't worry. After hearing to the news that yes, we are again going for the snap lockdown for 5 days, I had so much to do. I had to rush to the Verebi Plaza, buy some stuff for home, so, so that I can settle down my new daughter who has come back from India after 16 months. So yes,
Wow, that's a great family reunion then.
oh, yes. Oh, yes. So that's why we are
Wonderful.
going to talk today more about children because when my daughter was not there with me, I could feel that what I was missing through and what I was not seeing through and what my in-laws and other people over there in India taking care of my daughter had some backdrops and they couldn't feel comfortable talking with me. So that's why I got you in here so that yes, people who don't know what to do with their child development, they don't know what is child development, they don't know what to do with the early 5 years of age. So we got you in here today with so
Sounds
much of experience, Pratiksha. You are such a great asset for us today.
Oh, thank you so much. I believe strongly that we are still learning every single day from people around us. So I'm no expert, but based on my experience and what I've studied, and I'm still studying, like you're aware, I would love to spread the awareness of what I know, and that's why I'm here. I believe even if us together we change one family for the better, for them to make better decisions for their child, I think our
Yes.
work here is done.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I think Australia is one country where when I came in, I was like 29 years old and I never thought about studying again, studying. But then this country has given me so much of opportunity to study, to read, to go through, to get updates every time and every day. And there's every day something new to learn. So yes, it's been easy.
It is true. It is true. It's been the same for me. I actually stepped down from my full time job,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and pursued studying because I just wanted to get more knowledge. And it's a never ending process. I think, but whatever sales are both. So this is something that I really wanted to do, and I look forward to seeing myself in the role and give back to the community.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
Thank you.
So today, the things that we want to discuss with the community, with our people, with everybody around us, is about child development from birth till 6 years of age. We're going to talk about what the child development is all about, what role does a child care plays in it. You being an ex-director for a child care for so long, okay, you have immense knowledge about children coming to the child care, getting developed, different parents coming in, different parents having different questions asked, right? So we would go through each and every, step by step, discussion about child's development and how, the these 6 years of age really matters while the child goes to school. What does an early intervention mean? What is the role of speech therapist or an occupational therapist in these early 6 years of age?
Yep. Sounds good. Yes.
So why don't you introduce yourself as what you do, why you step down with your position and everything, please?
Sure. Sure. I worked as I actually started from the grounds up. I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old. He's in prep at the moment. So a lot of it also stems from experience. But I'd say I stayed home when I had my son, and then in that course is when during that period is when I studied early childhood education and care, and that came because I really thoroughly enjoyed looking after my son, and I saw the role as a parent. You're also the first teacher, and I've always heard this growing up, but then you actually experience that the role of a parent, a role of the first teacher, how crucial it is. You're pretty much, you have the responsibility of bringing this little one up, and everything you say, everything you do, they pick up, they absorb, they literally start reflecting everything we are or their surroundings are. So that is how I pursued studying. I started off with the early childhood education and care studies,
Yeah.
and then I moved up from the grounds up within the organization. I started with my placements, worked as an educator, moved up to for some time as a room leader, and then the second in charge, and then moved up to the director position. And I've seen so many families, but the common thing amongst all of them is the time when they drop their child off or when they start childcare. I think it's very hard. It's very difficult, and I've gone through that myself. I think for at least over 2 months, I must have wept, at least had a tear when I dropped my child off. It's difficult. It's not easy, but I think it's really important. Definitely through the conversation today, I would like to highlight the importance of exposure to a social environment. It could be childcare, it could be a community center, it could be mums and bubs, or places that cater to that. It could be your home environment if you have enough input for your baby. But I think it's very, very crucial those first years of their child. And there's science to prove it's not just old folk tale anymore. There's science to actually say that 0 to 5 actually forms the basis of everything that's to follow. So it's very, very important for us to give the child the best start to life, basically.
Yes. यस सो बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आए हैं जो लोगों ने पूछे हैं कि एक्चुअली में यू नो 0 to 5 years की एज में हमें क्या क्या नोटिस करना चाहिए, कब पता चलता है कि बच्चे का एज जो है एज के अकॉर्डिंगली बच्चा चाइल्ड केयर जाने के लिए रेडी है या नहीं है, कौन सा एज है ऐसा कि यू कैन टेल कि हाँ द चाइल्ड इज रेडी नाउ टू गो टू द चाइल्ड केयर.
Mani, that's a very interesting and good question, and a very common one, because you do have that question as a parent, and there's no manual to a parent. I wish there was. Everything comes, all roles come when you take up a job. It comes with job responsibilities and what you have to do, what you can do, cannot do. Unfortunately for moms and dads, for parents, there is no manual, and we just take in and learn on the go. A lot of it is learning on the go as well. And for the lucky few who have reach of experienced parents, seniors, or like they say, like I grew up in India, so I would give more references from there. We say it takes a village to bring a child up, and it is true. If the only difference is in India, you'd still have that village to help you. Here, you not really cut off, but I think you do feel isolated. Like you think twice before you call for help. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got something going. It's very
Yeah.
different back in the native. But that question is very crucial as to what is the right age. I'd say there's no one fit for all, but it is better to provide exposure to that environment sooner than later. And there are a lot of reasons why. I'll just list a few. I myself, as a new mom, first time mom, I actually had my son, and I took care of him for the first year by myself. As in, I didn't send him anywhere. I was home, and I had the time, and obviously I was curious. I was learning, And then I realized that I realized this exact same thing, that a child needs some exposure, because there's only so much you can give, not because you cannot give, but because think about your home environment, think about where you take the child. There's a certain routine, and that's about it. Like there's limited, because it's just me, it's my husband, it's my baby, so it's just us talking. Doesn't hear anybody else. Maybe the television. I didn't expose him to iPads and stuff that early. And then after he turned 12 months, I actually enrolled him in daycare. And even though I was home, I
Yes.
exposed him to 5 hours a day, 3 days a week.
Okay.
So it wasn't like sending all week, but some exposure. So I think, for whenever it feels right to a mom or to parents or to, I would say there's no fixed age, but earlier, sooner would be better.
Earlier sooner would
And
be
to
better.
adjust as well.
Yes. So, and the other question that people have asked is like, हमने बच्चे को चाइल्ड केयर में भेजा, बट अभी तक 4 हफ्ते हो गए हैं. हम जब भी बच्चे को मिलने के लिए जाते हैं, या देखने के लिए जाते हैं, वी कीप ऑन ऑब्जर्विंग द चाइल्ड बार बार, और बच्चा सिर्फ रो ही रहा होता है, एंड द टीचर्स आर देयर, दे आर टेकिंग केयर ऑफ हिम, बट लेकिन ही इज जस्ट क्राइंग. हमें लगा कि बच्चे को निकाल लेना चाहिए चाइल्ड केयर से, या फैमिली डे केयर में डालना चाहिए, छोटे इन्वायरमेंट में डालना चाहिए, rather than giving a bigger exposure. So, how long do you think a child really takes time to get adjusted into a child care? Of course, every child takes a different time, everybody has a different time. We do understand. But, at least what do you think would be the minimum time that parents, and how do you motivate those kinds of parents when they come to you?
Yes. Again, a very good question and very important one, because I think that is the key. And I've seen it's harder. So when you start off early, and that is why I say sooner the better. And
Yeah.
I'll come to the part B of the question, whether it should be long day care or family day care, because obviously they're different. But the
Mm.
sooner the better, because it helps the child settle sooner. I'll tell you one thing, Monique, what I've observed is when the child's crying, the mom's crying more.
Oh,
Because the child's crying, mums, it's hard for mums to walk away or dads to walk away. It's hard,
it is
very
very hard.
natural. Even as educators, it was hard for us because now, you can feel the separation anxiety there. The sooner you leave a child in such an environment, the faster they adapt to it. If they get used to longer being just seeing mom and dad, and I think unfortunately through COVID we've all seen a lot of such scenarios where we've just been in the house and just limited exposure, just mom and dad that the child sees, then settling in, well, again, you cannot have one glove fit all. There have been children that are looking forward to bonding with other people, looking forward to mingling with other children. But then there are other children who do not like anybody else, except for they're very comfortable with their parents and familiar faces, and it's harder for them to settle. So when it becomes harder for them, it becomes harder for mums and dads to leave their babies behind. But I would
Yeah.
advise such parents to have the patience, because think about school. At some point, they would actually have to go through that, right? Parents cannot, I mean, unless you're really seriously thinking of homeschooling. So this is your foundation. These years are going to strengthen that foundation. So look at it like it's for the best. Now, where to leave the child, whether a family daycare or a long daycare?
Yeah.
Now, that's a key question for parents to get a feel for. What feels best for you? I'll tell you a couple of. There's no good and bad. Definitely no good and bad. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say one is better over the other. But there are some advantages that I can say and disadvantages on both of them. Now, family daycare by law, by the compliance, it's different for every state, but by compliance, they are only allowed to have a smaller number of children, obviously, because of the attention they can give.
Yeah.
Long daycares, they have more children. So some families look at that in a good way, as in, okay, there'll be more more social interactions, and the child will be learning from different educators, from different children. So that's an advantage.
Okay.
Then there are advantages where, or some of them look at it as a disadvantage, that oh, I'll get a one-on-one attention in a family daycare or closer attention, and then long daycare, they might not be possible, which is not really true. It just seems like that because educators are still given that responsibility, and it's their duty of care to look after every single child. Yes, the ratio requirements in the state of Victoria is 1:11 once they turn 3, and it's 1:4 under the
Yeah.
age of 3. So, well, within the given scope, but then again, you'll find childcares where the ratio is not only well maintained, there's more educators in the environment. So that's one of the other differences. Another big difference I'd say where long day care might be a better option is the amount of resources. Now, think of long day care as it's a bigger company, obviously. They might have branches. They probably have access to more financial, investments. So I know of some that have spent like $20,000 every year to upgrade their toys, for wear and tear, for fixing up the places. Long day cares, they do best, but also might be restricted in the amount of resources that they can provide for the child. So they have their own pros and cons. I always say, even as a director, when families walked in, I told them follow your heart, and it will tell you where you want to be seeing your child. Spend spend some time, walk around the center, ask your questions. Sometimes children are fussy, is what I hear. They wouldn't eat certain foods. Get your questions answered and get a feel for where you think your child will settle best. But don't give up. I'd say don't give up. Don't let go that the child's crying. They do not settle. So nikal lete hain. I don't think that's a good idea. I would really plead, request the parents to wait it out. Give it more time. Everyone takes
Mm.
time to settle, and the longer you wait to even enroll your child, like if the child is older, it will take longer for them to settle in some cases. Some of them are like they're looking forward to that opportunity, but for some
Yes.
it might take longer. So, but don't give up. Please don't give up.
Yes. Thank you. There's even, people have asked questions like, that my child doesn't eat in the childcare. They go to the childcare, but they don't eat. Okay, so I'm very worried about his eating habits. I'm very worried about. मैं जब भी childcare में जाके किसी को पूछती हूँ that how much they eat, they have written about, but they don't know whether it's a good, a good amount of full bowl or small amount of bowl. Parents have these kinds of concerns when they send the child to childcare. Because
Yes.
of course at home there's a different environment what they're eating, and at the childcare there's a different environment that they're eating. So how do you handle those parents? What when a parent come to you for a first time for the tour of the childcare, what do you tell them? How do you handle their expectations at that time?
Again, a very important and very good question. I'm sure a lot of families have this question because it's a very common one that comes up. And it's a very natural one because you always worry about nutrition and you always worry about your child food. And especially when you're not there, you're just, banking on what the teacher's telling you. What I always say is obviously every center would have their own menu. And, usually parents can ask if it is in line with Nutrition Australia guidelines, because we do have some Nutrition Australia guidelines that the chef there can actually make their menu in line with. That tells you as a child, or tells the chef as a child, what are the nutrition contents or what percentage is okay for the child. So through the week they would say only they can only have fat content so much, or protein so much. They should have at least fruits. So we actually went through our menu and we changed our menu around to make sure it was in line with Nutrition Australia guidelines. So this is a key for parents that I'm talking to right now, or who are listening in, to ask those questions. How do you make sure that the meals are balanced? How is it nutritious? How do you know? So those are the keywords you want to hear. The second question is you want to ask if they provide vegetarian options. Mostly everyone does, but then you want to know if the child doesn't like certain meats, do they provide vegetarian meals? And we used to do that. Another one is if you know that every day you come in, the child hasn't been eating, and that's what you see. Then I would as a parent. I would ask you to, as an educator, I'd say I would work with the educators. So the parent should have a conversation with the educators on the level 1. Tell them what the child does eat,
Yes.
because a good childcare center will always work with you. So what they do, and what I've done in the past, I'll give you from my own example. I would work with parents and take a list of items that the child does eat. So I know the child eats at home, right? Now we take that, I take it to my chef, and I talk to my chef on how we can make more of this, and then either within guidelines freeze it in small quantities, so regardless of what the other menu is, through the rest of the day or through the rest of the week, we can actually incorporate what the child actually eats into the
Yes.
child's meal, because it's a small transition period. You have to remember, Monique, children learn from their peers faster than they learn from adults, from their
Definitely.
environment peers. So
Definitely. That is true.
eventually, they want to eat what the child next to them
Absolutely.
is eating. They will try it.
They
They will
always have their eyes on the other plates, especially the children, yes. Not only on the food, even in the toys too.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how it works. And they will actually settle in and eat and eat the menu from the childcare. I promise you. I've gone through so many families who started off, but eventually they do end up eating everything that's offered to them. But that transition
Yeah.
period, it's very crucial, because you don't want to force feed the child. You want to win the child's trust. So you want to have that transition. It's the same for language. I'm jumping the topic, but it goes so well. So there are
Yeah.
families where the children don't speak English, that childcares would probably speak.
Sorry to interrupt. I have seen the comments now. I couldn't see the comments earlier. Definitely, I'm coming back to each and every comment and I'm going to answer each and every comment with Pratiksha. Please hold on to me, ladies. Please. Thank you, moms. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
go.
you, everyone, for engaging with us and actually, coming up with your questions. We would love to answer them all.
Okay, so we have Fateh Ali Khan. She says her child is 5 years old. मैंने अपने बेटे का स्कूल में एडमिशन करवाया है, डिफरेंट स्कूल का विजिट किया, टेस्ट भी दिए हैं, मैंने बेटे को साथ लेके जाती तब वो हैप्पी हैप्पी गया, बट जब उसका स्कूल में एडमिशन फाइनल हो गया अब वो रोता है एंड जाता नहीं है. व्हाट कैन आई डू नाउ?
So when they say school, I'm assuming, is it prep or is it kinder? So
Yes,
I'm
I
just
think
gonna
it's right
address.
because the child is 5 years old. That's what we are saying that yes, the early intervention, the earlier 5 years are really important.
Yes.
So now the child is, what strategies do you give it to them?
So, Munit, I'm not quite sure. Is the child already in prep, or are we talking about kinder?
I think the child is in prep because child is 5 years old and recently started going to the school. So I think she
School.
means prep.
Prep.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say have a chat with find a good moment with the child. You want the child to talk to you. You wanna have that security feeling for the child. Children want that attention. So we want to get to the root of the problem. And I don't think anybody else but the parents can actually get the truth out from the child. So you've got to find different ways. Don't focus on the conversation and sit the child down and say, you're going to tell me what's going on, but find ways in play, just randomly try and get the information out of the child as to why the child doesn't want to be there. वो जो रो रहे हैं वो क्यों रो रहे हैं, what's happening, कोई तंग कर रहा है या कुछ पसंद नहीं आया, there must be something that's triggering, या फिर is it just separation anxiety. Now I don't have enough information, but I'd love to know if the child's actually gone to a daycare before. Has the child had the exposure of staying away from mom and dad before? Because if not, then that is probably what's causing that, staying for a longer period of time. And this is exactly what I'm trying to address here. School is very structured. Childcare is not as structured, but it gives the child the platform and the opportunity to build and to get used to that routine and the transitions to a point where they're actually sitting in one place for longer periods of time. So that needs to be built up eventually or slowly. And those 5 years are really, really crucial. With the information that we have for that mom, I would say, find a way to tap into your inner the child and find out what is it that's bothering, why the child doesn't want to be there. But do not pull the child out, please. I would say, please do not pull the child out. I'm hoping there's no other medical or medically related situation here. But based on just that fact, I'd say do not pull the child out. Try to find out what is the reason that the child's quite unhappy, because while he was, when they got him enrolled, obviously the child was very happy. And now the child is crying and doesn't want to go. Is it waking up in the morning early? Is it having to go to bed early? Is it that structure that the child doesn't like? Is it friends? I don't know. It could be a couple of those factors. Yeah, it could be all of those factors. We don't know yet. But do not give up. Try and find out what it is. Have a chat with the teacher. Very, very crucial. You want to get that information from the other side as well. What does a teacher see that we do not see? Find out more information before you take any action.
She did reply. She says, वो कहता है बाबा आप या मम्मा मेरे साथ बैठे हैं, मेरे साथ स्कूल का स्टाफ बहुत कॉपरेट है, बट वो नहीं मानता. So I think it's the separation anxiety. He wants mom and dad to be closer.
Yes, I
Is
think
that
it's separation anxiety. And schools are pretty good at the beginning of the term. Some schools do let parents spend a few minutes in the morning to settle their child in. So maybe talk to them and find a way to comfort that child. Maybe talk to the school and see if you can start off with the shorter hours in the beginning.
yes?
It's very different. It depends on the school, but maybe pick up the child early. And then the child probably would want to say, मेरे friends सारे बैठे हुए हैं, मैं क्यों जा रहा हूँ घर? I want to stay. It might work the other way. So
Other way.
have a chat
Yeah.
with the teacher, have a chat with the principal. Do not pull the child out. Work out ways, please.
She says 4 दिन तक तो मैं उसके साथ गई हूँ स्कूल में, so she was in the school. That is really good for Fateh Ali ji. So for 4 days, yes, she was there in the
But
school.
4 days might not be enough.
Yes.
He's only 5, so he probably needs a longer transition. And I'm thinking, has a child gone to childcare before, or is this the first time the child's being away from the family?
I will get back to her question. We have another question from Jivitji. Jivitji says, "What are the signs to look out for a child's speech impediment?" Sorry.
So this is again a very very important subject, and I'd like to acknowledge that it's not something that we can really answer in short. But one key thing I would advise, and this is really awareness for everyone that's listening out there: speech delays is not something you look at a later stage. Language development starts as a baby. You have to start with the baby at that stage. You've got to see if the child is following noises, following when you're talking to the child. Is the child responding, turning their face towards you? Is the child responding, getting startled if something gets dropped? Is the child trying to communicate with you? That's why those years are really, really important. Language comes in so many forms. Gestures. Is the child making eye contact? Is the child happy to see you? Does the child, give out arms, asking you to pick the child up? There are so many things to see, and these signs can be seen really early. Don't wait till the child is 4 years and now ready to school, and all of a sudden we are worried the child doesn't talk. There are so many things you can start looking for as a baby. Is the child responding to the child's name? It's a very important one. Now, a lot of families, unfortunately, are in denial. It's hard as parents to accept that there may be a speech delay, with my child. So it's very crucial to listen to what everybody else around you has to say. As moms and as dads, we understand the child's language, no matter what. If the child says something, I may understand, you may not understand it, as in what the child is saying, because we're so used to listening, right? But do not brush off if a close family member says something, or if you go for a play. And this is again where I would come back. I'm sorry, I have to keep coming back to this. This is where exposure to childcare is important, because the educators there are trained. They have trained eyes, they've trained knowledge to pick up. We are dealing with one child, our own child that age. But think about a childcare. they're actually dealing with that age group year after year. Those educators are seeing them in action, and it's so much easier for them to pick up if there is something off the typical chart. So I'd say typical, as in every child has its own journey, his or her own journey, right? Even though we say, okay, the child will roll on their belly and then sit up or try to sit up and then crawl and then walk, all said and done, there are development milestones, and we will put that resource after this conversation on YouTube and with these videos for families to follow up on. They look like this. So there are development milestones, and I'll share that resource with you. That gives you a reference. So don't take that as, okay, 0 to 4, 0 to 1 year में ये करना चाहिए था, नहीं किया, oh my God, नहीं. Please don't do that. It's only a reference, but it's important to follow those things. You have your maternal health nurse checks. Do not miss them. Go to those maternal health nurse checks. They're very important. I'm pretty sure moms, parents would have the green book. वो green book में भी milestones listed हैं. So that's important for you to see. But there are simple signs that you can see. Naam, does the child respond to the child's name? Does the child identify themselves, recognize, household items? Try to say, even blabbering, like ba ba ba, da da da. Is the child saying those things? Those are early signs that we need to see. There are certain, we call them processes as I'm studying, as in, ra ko da bola, journey bola, verni bola. Most of those usually resolve by 4 years old. 4 to 5 tak wo resolve ho jate hain. So, those are cases that we don't have to worry about. But again, don't go by what people are saying. Don't compare your child. अगर थोड़ा भी concerning लगता है, if you're concerned at all at any point in time, talk to your GP. Your GP will refer you to a professional, like a speech pathologist, most likely for language, for the speech development delays that you might be concerned about. But listen to what everybody's got to say. If your educator has pointed out something, you take that seriously. You take the action. There's no taboo anymore. There's nothing to really worry about. You're actually helping your child. You want the best outcome for your child. And for that, you need to take action now, early. Early intervention is the key.
Yes.
That's I would say. There are many small signs. It's not just not talking, at 3 or 4. It starts when it's a baby. That's when you start looking for things.
Yes. Okay. Because there have been people, when they go to their GPs, there was another question that there were parents who went to the GP and the GP recommended them to visit a speech therapist or speech pathologist. The parents actually they start getting very anxious, and especially the people from the South Asian background, they start getting very anxious and they think that there's something wrong with the child. I think there's a myth about meeting a speech pathologist at the early stages. There's a myth in in the parent's mind. Oh, there is something wrong with my child. That the GP has asked the parent to go and see a speech therapist or an occupational therapist. So they have those myths in their mind. So we really want to clarify these myths that actually it is for your development. So what would you
Yes.
like to say for those kind of parents, please? And what
Yes.
would you recommend for them?
So again, very, very important. I really, really hope that families listening in do understand that if you are in denial, or if you look at it in that way, then you are being the bottleneck in your child's development. You are being the hurdle in your child in getting the best outcome for your child, because your child deserves the best, correct? And if anyone finds or feels or is saying that there could be potentially a speech delay, or potentially there is a communication difficulty, not necessarily impairment, maybe a delay, and which might resolve over time, what's the harm in seeing a GP? What's the harm in getting a second opinion? I always recommend, I really recommend, and couldn't emphasize this highly enough, that a parent should go and seek a GP's opinion. Now, if the GP sends them back, at 3 years of age, pata nahi chalta, it's too early. There have been cases, by the way, which I'm bringing this up. I hear maternal health nurse check kiya, koi problem nahi hai. They're saying there's nothing wrong. But then the educators are saying that we see the child is not at par with the other children their age. See, after a certain, and educators have the trained, they are trained in this, they have the trained eye for it. I would not ignore the educators' feedback. I would ask the educators to give me a letter. So as a parent, I'm saying, if the educator tells me your child's speech seems to be delayed or communication is not where it needs to be as the other children their age, I would say, if I've already seen the GP, if I've already seen the maternal health nurse and nobody seems to have picked anything, I'd say, can you please list the things that you've noticed or that is of concern? Can you put it on a paper for me? Because now I'll take that paper, I'm going to go back to my GP, and there's nothing wrong with it. And if you're not comfortable going back to the same GP, seek another doctor, seek another GP, another professional's assistance or opinion. I would take that letter back to them and say, this is what my educators are sharing. They are concerned. Can we please explore this? Because that's where early intervention, it's very crucial that we provide the support the child needs sooner than later. There's nothing wrong if you've missed that timeline and now the child's 4, ready to go to school, and all of a sudden we are under pressure. My child, school mein shayad admission na mile because the child's not speaking as they should be. ठीक है, इतना time नहीं हुआ, मिला नहीं, but don't panic. It's not the end of the world. But if you don't look at it positively, who else will? How's the child going to get the best outcome? So it's a big responsibility you have. You have to pick yourself up, not pull yourself down. If there's something wrong, there's nothing wrong. It's just like, okay, dawai, you have a cold, you got to go take your medication, but doctor ke paas jaake lena na. Don't Google it yourself. You want to get whether it's a bacterial cold or a viral cold. You don't know, so you want to go seek a professional. Leave the best parts, professional work to the experts. So I would say seek a professional opinion, and if they're pushing you back, you take evidence from whoever is giving you that feedback. Go back and tell and push a little, because who else other than you want the best for your child? Educators might, the doctors might, but nobody as yourselves. I think, and your child best. Don't be the hurdle in your child's development. And by pulling yourself down, denying it, it doesn't hurt to try. And then maybe everything will be okay. Maybe the child just needs 6 months of additional support with speech to catch up with everybody else. But don't deny your child that opportunity, because nobody else will be able to. The child totally depends on you for it.
There even have been, a parent asking a question like, because it's been, my child is like her child is like 4 years old, and the child has never been to the childcare before. The parents speak a different language at home. Okay, now they wanted the child to get ready for, school going. So this is a time when they started sending the child to the kinder program, and the teachers have noticed that the child doesn't understand instructions, the child doesn't follow, what is being asked to do, he doesn't understand what exactly being, asked for the whole group to do, he doesn't know how to communicate with his own peer members. So what do you tell about those to those parents, speaking another language at home, not getting exposed? What else they could do? Because they say we are a full time, housewives. We don't want our child to go to the child care because we are staying at home. Okay, we can take care of the child. But what else they could do for them, please?
So, Monique, again, a very important social question here. And there are a couple of parts to this question. Part one, different languages, multiple languages. I want to touch on that, just briefly touch on that. Part two, for the families who have not reached that stage where the child doesn't speak any other language, and the child's already 4 years old, and now, we need to settle the child in a school, etc., or be prepared for the school. If you're not there yet, it's not too late yet. Or even if you're there yet, it's not too late. But what I mean is, you still have the opportunity. You get your child into community childcare. There's so many run by the government. They're free. If you're a housewife, go. Please spend time with the child there. Get that exposure started. If not, find a family daycare. a smaller group if that's what suits your needs. If not, find a long day care. Get started, because the child needs that head start exposure to a social environment, to settle in, to make friends, to build that confidence, to build the language that is required, right? Language part that I was talking about before. I urge everyone that's listening, if you're not promoting your home language, please do. The child will learn English when the child goes to childcare or to school. It is inevitable, but no one else is going to teach the child your native language. This is the only opportunity the child has. Please do not deprive. There is science behind it, and I cannot emphasize this enough. It's so much better for the child to be exposed to more language, to learn more languages. And the earlier, the better. So please, if you are continuing to teach your child the home language, I'm not sure. Some parents I've heard one parent would speak one language, the other parent would speak another language. That's two languages. And then they'd learn English at school. And I've done the same with my child. My child didn't speak English, a word of it, till he started going to childcare. And I still today, at home, we do not speak English. I come from a South Indian background, and that's where we just spoke the Indian, home language. And I was confident the child, yes, he doesn't speak butter in English, like, we say, not very fluent in English, like the other peers who are, native from here. But I'm happy because I know he'll catch up. There is science that between 7 years and 9 years of age, all children would be at the same stage of reading and writing. So leave the English for the school, for the daycare. You speak the home language. Now, for the question that you asked me, that if the child has already reached 4 years of age, doesn't speak English, we need to prepare the child for school. What does the parent do? It's not too late. Get the child enrolled in kinder. You make a list of words that you speak to the child at home in, and sit down with the educators, meet up with the educators or the director at the center. You need to help the child settle in. Use those words. The educators can start using that language, your language, the common words like bahar, like going out, coming in, food, would you like, friends. There are so many common words. Have them translated on a piece of paper in the language you speak, and let the educators introduce that so the child feels a sense of belonging. And then the child will pick up from their peers and from the educators talking. It's not too late. Please get the child enrolled. He will settle in. He or she will settle in.
We have a few couple of parents who do agree with it. So we have Sonam Sahil Chand who do agree with it. And even the Fateh Ali Khan ji, she even also agrees with it. She's even asked another question, okay? कुछ बच्चे बहुत ज़्यादा ज़िद्दी होते हैं, मेरा बेटा बहुत ही ज़्यादा ज़िद्दी है। प्यार से हम समझाते हैं तो वो समझ जाता है, बट जब थोड़ा हम उसको थोड़ा डाँटते भी हैं, लेकिन वो जब मूड में है तो गलत भी ठीक है। इस ज़िद को कैसे खत्म करें?
Okay. Again, this is like a whole episode of conversation, because जो हम जिद कहते हैं, the stubborn or the behavior that we talk about. Behavior, everyone listening, I'd like you to really pay attention to this. And this is something I learned because I was listening to someone else. Behavior is language. It's a way that the child is communicating with you. For whatever reason, it could be that the child's not getting the attention at that point in time. It could be that that's the way the child wants to communicate. There could be many reasons to it, and there's not one right for all. But behavior challenges is actually the child's way of communicating. It's a form of language. The child's trying to communicate. Now, zid ke liye aap डांट सकते हो. You can do disciplining and all that at home, but day cares में या child cares में we cannot that nahi sakte. We cannot be raising our voice. That's not something we do as professionals. Our duty of care is to mold the child and either redirect them or find other strategies to use. So one thing I would do is, I'm assuming the child's going to childcare, or is it just home that the parent is asking?
The child was just at home, never have gone out in any other community. They've been into the family and the friends, but just their own language, family and friends.
Okay.
They didn't have anyone else.
So strategies, I would say number one strategy is redirection. Redirection really works. Okay? Redirection is distract the child to something else that the child is interested in, not that I am interested in, but the child is interested in. as in not the parent, but you know what the child would like. So redirect it. So that kind of diffuses that particular situation right then and there. The second is there could be positive or negative reinforcement. So, there are different ways a behavior can be addressed. And like I said, it's a full episode conversation, but there's reinforcement. So there could be positive reinforcements by either removing or adding something that makes a difference to the child. So it could be rewards, it could be consequences that the child is looking forward to, or consequences the child doesn't like. But ekdam say we don't do that jump. It needs to be in small installments and gradually. Because how maybe like I wouldn't, if I didn't like, as a parent, I would ask you, if you didn't like, say, broccoli, how would you like me to force broccoli down your throat? No, we don't like to be forced, right? So why are we doing that to our child? It shouldn't be the case. But as a child, we think that we need to guide the child on the right path. Start in small increments. Start with small installments. Reinforcements, redirections, consequences, adding, removing, what's good, what's not, what the child likes or doesn't like. So it's very different to each child, but those are the couple of things the parents I would advise to give it a try. It works.
There's a very hilarious comment from Paraji.
Handy.
Thank you for clearing it out. He's saying, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. And
Oh,
I'm so sorry because usually moms are the ones who ask questions. So I assumed it to be a mom, but thank you for clearing it up.
and it's so good to see. I'm really.
Yes,
You should be proud. I missed the name, but I think you should be proud that you're actually engaging in conversations and taking
yes,
that role on.
yes,
Fateh
definitely.
Ali. Huh. I would say hats off to you. Good job there. Good job, Dad. You should be
We
proud.
even, yes, thank you. Thanks a lot for clearing that up too. So there's another parent who did ask a question like, the child is very sensitive, and and whenever they pour water on his head, in a shower, okay, the child starts crying, and even with vacuum cleaners, the child gets very sensitive with the whistles, cooker whistles at home. He gets very sensitive, okay, and they don't know how to react to that. But being having a mother-in-law at home, mother-in-law is always saying, oh, it's okay, school जाएगा ठीक हो जाएगा, बच्चे इस उम्र में ये सब कुछ करते हैं, so she is actually not able to come out to talk with anyone. She doesn't understand whom to talk about this thing, but she feels very anxious about this question that कि किसी भी loud तरीके की voice से उसका बच्चा बहुत ज्यादा डर जाता है.
Okay. Now, would you know how old the child is?
The child is 2.5.
2.5. Acha. Look, the reaction to loud sounds is a very normal process, but that's very early on. At 2.5, if the child's still feeling that, I would definitely recommend to go see your GP or a pediatrician to understand. Or I would ask, has there been any incident that might have triggered that fear in the child? Anything that they can reflect back on? If they cannot, I would definitely ask them to go get an opinion from a pediatrician, a child specialist, or a GP who can then direct them to a pediatrician. But don't let it stop you, because you're very conscious of it, and and that's why you're not getting. I'm talking to the parent, as in if you're conscious and you're cutting off from social life as a result, it's not good for you or for your family. And taking the advice, I would not say that parents are grandparents or the child's grandparents. I'm not undermining their experience, but I would not just sit on it saying it will resolve in time. And that's exactly what we need to raise awareness of. A lot of things we grew up with saying कि वो ठीक हो जाएगा, or it will resolve on its own. Not every single time. And do you really want to wait for 4 years and then find out कि oh, 2 साल पहले, 2 years ago, I could have actually acted upon this? If God forbid, I'm hoping there's nothing there, but if the child needed that early intervention, why waste the time? What's the harm in seeking an opinion, in talking to a professional who can actually really help you? That will make a difference. I would say, please make an appointment, go see your pediatrician or see your doctor, who will refer you to the pediatrician if needed. Find out what you can do, what could be causing it. if there's something that's happened that's, startled the child to an extent where any sound reminds the child of that fear, that could be one of those things. But there are ways to get out of that situation. Don't let it keep you or the family from engaging in your social life. Please seek professional assistance. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your child. You just need to find out what's going on. And you won't know what to do if you don't know really what's the root cause of it. And sitting at home waiting it out is not going to give you the root cause of it. So please seek professional assistance.
Sure. Thank you, Pratiksha. Thanks a lot for such nice answers. And everybody, I think everybody got their answers, according to what questions they asked. Is there anybody else who would like to ask any question, please? Please do reach out to me. Even if not today, you see this video later on and you still have some questions, you don't know where to get, where to ask answers from, please do get back to us. We will definitely guide you towards the right kind of a person who could help you. And of course, Pratiksha is always there. You can definitely get back to her. You can ask her any questions. She'll be always there to answer you.
Yes,
So
I'm
what
no
would you
expert, but I would definitely speak from the experience that we've gone through. And I just want to remind everyone that the resource for milestones that I was talking about, that you can look at as a good reference, we'll be posting that along with this video on YouTube, I believe, or all the places where it gets posted. So keep an eye out for it.
Sure. Thank you. What would you like to say at the end, Pratiksha, after all this session? Now I hope you are relaxed as being at the
Yes.
study of the session.
Yes, I definitely like to say that I'm still studying and there's more to come. I'm studying Masters in Speech Pathology at the moment. And, I have the experience of the childcare, and everything that I've said today is based on my experience and opinion. But the bottom line, to all the beautiful families out there, you're not alone. There's so much help around you. Look for it and tap into it. You don't have to do this by yourself. I know we don't have the family support that we grew up with if you're from South Asia, like, I've grown up, and I'm sure Munit can relate. We feel left out here. We feel like, you don't know who to ask. You feel like you're going to be judged. There's so much out there are so many professionals out there, the government resources that you can tap into. Always follow and trust a reliable professional expertise. Please do not compare and listen to folk stories and end up making the wrong decision or not taking action at all. That's the worst thing you can do. Act now, early. Seek help early. And we are here. Shoot questions our way, and if we can, we'll love to answer them for you.
I would definitely like to share the last thing that you said because even I have an experience. Even my daughter, who is 3.5 years old now, when she started actually saying the whole words and everything, I could see that she is missing out some words. She could not pronounce, a few words. And when I started talking with my husband was like, no, no, I don't think so. There is any, problem there. I don't think so. There is any confusion with the speech development or anything. I think it's just because you're not listening to her properly or she's not able to say. But with age, it will change. Okay. So we missed out a couple of, months for that. But definitely she had those lacks. Okay. And it's been last 4 months she's been visiting speech therapist now.
Wow.
She has recovered so much. I could see the changes within last 4 months that she has done with her speech, with her ways of asking me questions, with the ways of expressing her things, with the ways of pronouncing the whole big letter words. Okay, so there's a lot of change, and I can relate that yes, when you visit a speech therapist, they have a lot of strategies to work out with children.
Yes.
Small things like turn taking, sharing the toys with the kids, okay, pronouncing those words, asking for help, using those, magic words like please, thank you, and, asking, excuse me. So these questions, she's picked up a lot of stuff from speech therapist, and I can relate, and I would really ask and request my other moms that please don't delay it. Please do visit speech therapist. Please do visit your GP. Ask questions. If you don't know where to go, please come back to us. We will guide you to where to go, and we are definitely there always to help you out. Please.
Yes, I totally agree. And Manit, very well said. Like you mentioned that, was it your husband that said that, ठीक हो जाएगा, will resolve? It is, there are
And then
certain
I'm
of
like,
those.
I was like so stubborn. I was like, no, we need to see a GP. We need to see a GP. Okay.
And that's hats off to you, very good on taking action, because I'll tell you, there are certain of those pronunciations that resolve by age, but as parents we do not know which ones resolve by 3 years of age or 4 years of age. And that's exactly why you need to seek professional assistance, because they know, they are trained. And that's what I'm learning at the moment. I'm being trained in that. I can tell, I know I'm not going to share all of that right now because I'm not there yet, but I'd say that the professionals know which ones will resolve and which ones will not, where you need that early intervention. So hats off, that's a good role model. And I'd like all the parents listening to pay attention and say, that's what you need to do. Absolutely. Good job.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for everyone for listening up today. And thank you, Pratiksha, for being such a nice guest today.
Thank you so much to all the families that have engaged with us, mums and dads. And thank you, Mani, for providing this opportunity for me to spread the awareness of what I know. I look forward to more such.
A special thanks to Fateh Ali ji. Thank you, Fateh Ali ji, for making me laugh in the session, but thank you.